Dear friend, imagine for a moment your arthritis vanishing right now. If, in a moment, your pain and stiffness melted away, and your joints all of a sudden functioned like a well-oiled machine. Like a magic wand was waved, you'd be able to jump up from your chair and run around the room like a kid. And imagine that you'd never have to suffer as much as a pinch of arthritis, stiffness or pain ever again. I know this sounds impossible right now, but bear with me, because sometimes miracles happen. And this is exactly what happened to me in a location I least expected. It was a gift from a woman on the other side of the world. From the kindness of her heart, she took pity on my suffering and taught me how to completely reverse my arthritis. This kind act was probably no big deal for the mysterious woman because arthritis is almost non-existent where she comes from. And even if people were to develop the disease, everyone would know exactly what to do. She helped hundreds of people in addition to me. Extremely quickly, it immediately worked. Easily, it required only minimal effort. For good, I never suffered again. Today, I want to do the same for you. I'm going to pay this forward. Take you by the hand and lead you step by step through the 3-step strategy of relieving your pain and stiffness today. Ridding you of the underlying cause of your arthritis, for good. Rebuilding the damage already done to your joints. All completely naturally, without the use of prescription medications that only make your condition worse in the long haul. Now, you may have heard there is no solution for arthritis. And this is absolutely true when it comes to the traditional medical system. But in other parts of the world, where Western medicine is not practiced, arthritis is almost non-existent. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how this all started. Hi, my name is Shelley Manning. When your husband leaves you on your 56th birthday, which also happens to be Valentine's Day, it really gets your goat, doesn't it? Should I blame him? I don't know. I guess I was not so easy to live with back then. Plus, I got my sweet revenge later, as I'll tell you in a second. You see, I met Andrew when we were both in college. Shortly after we got married, I began to develop rheumatoid arthritis. Things got worse. Carrying 2 children and being immobile due to my diseases, I added on a lot of weight in the next 10 to 15 years. That put extreme strain on my knee joints, leading to additionally osteoarthritis in my early 40s. It didn't help that I worked in a small office sitting in front of a computer all day long. When every move you make feels like torture, you tend to avoid moving. This is probably the #1 mistake us who suffer from arthritis make. This is also one of the main reason obesity is twice as common among people with arthritis than the general public. I was no exception. If you are interested, please click the link below the video. Sometimes when the arthritis flares were the worst, I would lie in bed for days and days. Andrew wanted to go to gatherings or take a trip, but I couldn't go with him. I remember on our 22nd wedding anniversary, we planned to go to an old famous 5-star restaurant that was on the 2nd floor. I just couldn't walk up the steps and we ended up having pizza down the street. This is a sad reality for a young woman in her early 50s. These were supposed to be our golden years. Most women our age dread their husband running off with a younger, friskier woman. Well, Andrew got a friskier woman, but she was actually 2 years older than me. I was devastated. What an asshole to leave his wife of 31 years in her misery and pain. Andrew left the house immediately after telling me the grave news. He had already packed a suitcase and I assume he drove straight over to his whore. I just sat frozen at the kitchen table in our big house. I couldn't cry, couldn't really process what was happening. And the thought that came to me over and over again was, how am I going to function on my own? The next day I called out of work, saying I was sick. I'd done that a million times due to my arthritis. But then some kind of insanity hit me. You see, I always wanted to travel to Asia. And as I was drowning my sorrow while surfing the internet, an ad popped up for a cheap last-minute flight and hotel to Hong Kong, leaving the next day. Before I could think about the pain of flying across the world, I bought the ticket and began packing. I thought it couldn't be more painful than staying in my house. I was wrong. Although I'd popped 12 of the strongest painkillers I had, I didn't sleep a wink in the small uncomfortable seats on the plane. When we finally descended in Hong Kong after 16 hours of flying, I didn't think I could walk off the plane. As if that wasn't enough, little did I know that the hotel they put me in was far away from the major tourist or business areas. I was the only Westerner in sight. It truly felt like authentic China. How a cup of tea changed my life. If you are interested, please click on the link below the video to learn the full content.